at our trade show. That's the International CHA trade show that's held every January. This 2014 year, I came across a company called Hobby House, and they're out of England, and I just fell in love with the artwork.
These are card toppers, and what we love about them is that they make really quick and easy cards and ornaments, especially at this time of year, and they're so cute.
They are, darling. Come play with us. Well, here's what the sheets look like, and they each, I guess, well, there are 7 here. These are all Christmas.
And there are 2 different artists who've done the artwork for this. We have Sylvia Zett and Elizabeth Bell, and they're just really adorable. Each one of them has 6.
Let's go into each one.
Okay. So we'll start with this one. This one is called Winter Friends. It has 2 different designs, but 6 of the card toppers, and they're in different sizes. We have large circles, a smaller size.
And they're die cut, and that's the circles that you're talking. You kind of see as I poke this.
Right, they pop out super easy.
Right, and what can you do with them? You might ask, well, how about this? Now, in this case, we have a wall hanging.
And
so
this
it
is
just
wonderful. So
keeps opening.
Right, so you can use the different images on
and then
the
she did them on the back side too.
On the back, and add some Christmas dazzles in there.
So simply done, just putting those little ones in place.
Right, and these outer pieces that you see, they were cut out, traced and cut out using a design toolkit.
Right, and this is number 5, and so you can see that that oval came in very handy.
Right. There's a large oval, there's a small oval as well. Right. So just traced and cut out to get those pieces, and then they were linked together using something called flip-flop fasteners.
Right, these are plastic pieces, kind of like a butterfly bandage, but what they do is allow that movement of the flip-flopping, as you're seeing there.
They are adhesive on one side, so if I sort of move it like that, you can see one of the fasteners. They hide really well, so you can barely see that. So one half is here, and the other half is down on the lower piece, and that allows them to just flip and turn.
So that just works perfectly.
Also, the dazzles on here started out silver, and Debbie elected to color them with Spectrum Noir pens to get the colors that fit those images. But look at those cute little images.
Beautifully done.
Wonderful.
Let's just get another look at the colored dazzles. There you go. So as you can see. And so she's done dazzles on every other one, just to, and you can see nice job of coloring. And the largest one she kept on the top. And then she also did them on the other side.
Well, if it's hanging somewhere, you might be able to see both sides. So that's a really interesting idea. I can see doing that with photos too.
Yes.
Photos, and every other one is the card toppers. So.
And a very nice gift, I think, too, for a family or someone special.
And individually, that could make an ornament. Just one of them or 2 of them together could make an ornament. So.
But speaking of ornaments, okay, how about taking, if we take Christmas Berry, and look at this. So this little guy has been perched on here.
Right. Again, the use of the circles and scallops cutting dies to get that matted section behind there, very simple. And then this great pleated design behind it.
And that was done with the pretty pleated flowers, and very neat in that all you do is fold your paper, place the fold along the straight edge, trace and cut out the designs, and you are good to go. And an easy way to cut out those ovals, by the way, is to fold each of those in half and then just snip it out. So it gives you a very sturdy piece. I mean, this is pretty solid.
Isn't it? Is it that double-sided, or is there one on the other side?
There is double-sided.
So you can put one on both sides to hide the center part of that pleat. It's just beautiful.
And I think this is a great use of double-sided paper, too.
Right. So a little bit of the
mesh ribbon
at the top, the mesh ribbon.
Jewel dazzles along the outside, the scallops. And if we get in really close, maybe you can see along the muff the ice
diamonds.
Yes,
the diamond ice stickles, and they're a little bit going around even on top of the little tiny dots that you see there. So just a tiny little accent. I love the red jewel dazzles around the edge.
Now you can do it as an ornament, or you can also place it on a card.
Right, so another idea for the same template.
And if you wanted to, you could make it an easel card, just like so.
Just another way to use that.
Right, nice options. And we also have, this was done out of the Winter Fairy, so don't want to forget that.
So you see, these are some of the larger designs that are, what did we decide that was around?
About 3 and a half.
3/4, 3.5 inches, down to 3 inches. And a little boy with a kitten and a dog, and then the season's greetings.
So you saw that little, fairy. Well, here is the little boy. Now this time he was simply cut out, and he's been placed on an embossed piece, and that was done using the label with dots embossing folder.
So that was done on green cardstock, and then the center was cut out, and an acetate was placed behind there, just so you could get that window effect.
And that's the tiny Christmas words, the Dear Santa.
Oh, those are great Christmas dazzle. They're just filled with all of these Christmas words, easy to embellish.
And this is the 3D Christmas trees.
Right, so this is great. The edges will pop up, and they give a little bit of dimension.
And that red in the background, you can see it has some dimension. It is a red peacock.
Yeah.
It's an embossed paper that just comes that way.
Right, and it's a neat texture to add a little texture to your card.
And these stars are part of the 3D tree. And then on the inside, you can see the heat-resistant acetate was used here, although you didn't need the heat-resistant part. You did need the acetate part. And then another of the embossing folder, more of the tiny Christmas words, and the 3D tree.
And a nice little spot to write something there. But I love that you can also cut out the card toppers. You don't have to use them just on the base that they come with.
That's another image. Now we have the Let It Snow designs.
So 6 more designs, and these come in oval shapes and in sort of an ornate frame shape. And you get the 2 designs. You get 3 of each of the images on this one. 1, 2, 3. And actually this one's a little different. I didn't notice that. There are 3 of this image. There are 2 of the little girl sliding, and then there's an extra image of a little bunny on a present.
And scrapbookers, here we go. These also can be really nice embellishments for your pages. And what's been done, we'll have to get in closer to see. It too was placed on an embossed piece. Now this is done with the snowflakes, and you can see that that has been inked. You could also chalk.
Right.
But to pick up the colors that are both in the photos and of course in the artwork.
Right.
So one as a rectangle, and she's looking at the little girl and her snow friend.
And then the 2 children that are on the slide, and then a little girl on the slide over here, and they're sort of looking at each other.
And this is also the snowflakes embossed.
Right.
And this was matted, so it really picks up that shape.
Right, so that's the shape of the die cut as it is, and you can just mat it on there easily.
And the background is this Pink Flourishes foil paper. So just giving you another look. I think it's very fun with the pinks and the blues for snow. Just really does a nice job.
Right.
Now the next one we have is Holly Time.
This is Holly Time, and it's got more of a blues and reds together, and you see the different images, the bunny on the sled. You get a couple of images of the little girl with the little braids here, and then these large images, which is the one you'll see used here.
Right, and look at this. This is on a center step card, and isn't that image just nice and big, fits perfectly.
Right in the center, so just sort of pop, but with the addition of those snowflakes cutting dies on the silver snowflake holographic paper, it just really pops.
Here's the cutting die. Now there are 3 of them, and you can really see them as they've been scattered. They have been, as you said, a die cut out of the holographic, which is always a good look.
Right, but then the red suede and the powder blue suede were added as well.
Right, so very neat. And then the center step card is a die cut card, and it's available in packages like this. And in this case, she was done, the sides, but the inside was left blank, and that way you can put your message there and it's going to stand up.
So there were some things that were done to the card topper itself. So while you could certainly just pop that on there and it's good to go, I kind of wanted to make it sparkle a little bit more. And I did a couple of things to do that. First, I've got one of the little die cuts here, and I used something called the Wink of Stella. It's a brush marker. Comes in a package like this. We have lots of different colors. This one in particular is clear. And when you get it, you need to know that it has this little band right in the center. That's to keep it from coming out in shipping so that the ink won't actually come out. So I'm going to remove that little band. I'm going to put this back on there and screw it in place until it sort of pops.
And that's going to pierce that.
Right.
Okay.
And then with a little bit of squeezing, I've got a sticky note so I can make sure it comes out. With a little bit of squeezing and sort of priming, you're going to see the ink come into this one there. You saw a little bit of it there. And that will eventually get down to that. It's a very fine bristled, very soft brush, and you can see when it comes out, it's got a little silver glitter to it. Now I'm going to get that out of the way. And that's what I use to paint just on the areas where I wanted it. I put it on the scarf, I put it on the clothes. I just wanted a little extra glimmer.
Okay, so you just rubbed it all over. You weren't trying to just do the white area or the red area.
No, I just did the whole scarf. I did all of the wings. I didn't do the face or anything like that. So just sort of embellishing different areas of it. And if I pick it up and turn it, you can just see that. It just helps to make it pop right away. The next thing I did was that I applied the Diamond Eye Stickles. And I used that only on the snowy areas. So as you look at the card.
So it was this. So right in here, we'll get in close so you can see. And that's going to give dimension as well as that icy look. It's thicker than normal stickles. Right. So it has that.
Adds a little more. Right. I also did a little line stitches.
Little pen work.
Around the outer edges.
And this is more of the tiny Christmas word dazzles.
Covered with little dazzles.
I love those snowflakes popping out, and of course the flash of them.
And they're cut in half, or at least smaller than in half, just here on the edges, just parts of them used, and then popping out from behind and on top.
Magic is part of the tiny Christmas word dazzles. So just a really charming piece. Now, speaking of charming pieces, we also have this one, and was she on a previous sheet?
She was.
Okay.
Let me see which one that was. That was Berry, I think.
There you go.
Christmas Berry.
Just so you know.
So it's the smaller one. There are larger and smaller. There's some other images that we haven't used, but
that's where we did
the other one.
The ornament. Now this has, the reason why it's appearing here is that another technique was used on it. So you saw all the different types of products that were used around it, the cutting dies, the embossing folders, the die cut cards. But look at the glitter. So how was that done?
Well, there were a couple of things used there. You are seeing the micro glitter here. It's a very fine glitter with just a really iridescent color.
Which we love.
And the clear gloss Wow embossing powder comes in this big container because you're going to use a lot of it for embossing. So it's a two-stage process, and it starts with the embossing powder and Versamark. So I've got that die cut here, and I'm just going to apply the Versamark right on there. Just make sure that you get it all over. Try not to hit any of the edges. Usually what I'll do is after I go over the whole thing, I sort of pick it up and look at the edges to make sure that I didn't forget any little spots. And then you take the embossing powder, and I'm going to remove that one. I've got another one sitting over here for that too, I think.
Okay.
The embossing powder and cover it with embossing powder. And there's a lot of it, and it's not going to get wasted. Whatever I don't use is going to go right back into the container. So I've got that pretty well on there. And I want to pick it up and tap it off.
I'll take that. Oh,
okay.
You'll move it?
No,
okay.
I'll go ahead. And then I'm going to emboss it with the heat gun. And before I do that, I think I'll open the glitter and get that ready for when I need it. Because after I emboss it, I'm going to put the glitter on so that it will stick.
I almost wonder if you could put the glitter on before you heat it.
I think it would blow away.
Oh,
it won't have anything to stick to. That's my plan, is to do this, then use the Versamark again, and then put the micro glitter on.
Oh, okay.
So just a little bit of heating.
There you go.
It starts to go. So you see it at the same time. And you know, if you were to just use the embossing powder, that's a nice look because then you've got a glossy little card topper. Whereas before it was just sort of a matte look, now it's glossy. But adding that glitter is just an extra little pop. So there it's all been heat embossed, and you can see how glossy it is. So you could just stop there.
Right.
I'm trying to get, there we go. There's the gloss. And, but I'm going to use the Versamark. Do it again, and I've done it right on there, haven't I? Oh,
you have, okay.
Make sure I get it all over. Then I'm going to sprinkle it with glitter and reheat it. So, make sure I get it all over.
I think the micro glitter has become one of our go-to favorites.
It is. One of the things that Susan said about using it on this image is she tried doing a double layer of the embossing powder before she put the glitter on, and she found that it was just too thick. It sort of distorted the picture a little bit. So she went back and just did it with one layer, and it works great.
I love the sparkly look.
And you can see that reheating really quickly. You can see it turning pretty quickly.
So it's just holding it down.
Right.
Okay.
So it's basically just reheating the embossing powder, and that allows the glitter to stick. And that's it.
And it's all pretty and glittery and tidy and hot. Thank you. And here it is placed inside the 8 circles and scallop cutting die onto a big tag. And I like the big tag. Also, I like the fact that this is poking out of it. And some petaloo flowers and some dazzles. And these are the charm dazzles. So you can see the love and the joy. And here's what those look like when they're unpackaged.
Great little addition.
There's a ton of them. There's 94 on this package.
And they go back to back. You can either just use the front of them like they were used here, so you can also place them back to back.
And then there's another one that's going, and this has also been die cut with the circles.
Actually, the paper on the outside. So the paper has a die cut hole in it that's been placed, right, a window that's been placed on top of that one.
And there's another little charm. And sometimes when you have little things like the charms, you might think, "Hi, where would I ever use that?" Well, this is a perfect example. It doesn't overpower anything, but it's a great supporting element.
Right.
And just really, really sweet.
And it's an easy way to add little, tiny little words in different places as well.
Now, are you ready for something gorgeous? Here she is. Now, this is out of the Christmas Angel set. Right. And this is the Elizabeth Bell artwork.
So you're getting 3 different designs on here, but they're in this one in particular, there are 2 of each design. So you have 2 of this one. This becomes important with this card. 2 of this one, 2 of that one.
Right.
So each one there are 2.
And we'll tell you why that's important as we get in close.
Right. As you're getting close to this one, here you have the overall card topper, but then you have another card topper that was cut out individually and stacked on top of it.
Now, I'm really caught by that shine that's happening.
And that was with crystal lacquer.
So this is the 3D crystal lacquer. It is a liquid. You never shake it up. You just simply use the applicator and squeeze it on.
Right. And so I did. I put it on some of the smaller areas. If you feel like you're getting too much of a bead of the crystal lacquer coming out, you can put it on something else. Put it on a piece of scrap paper and then use a skewer or something like that to just sort of dab it on there and push it around to the smaller areas.
So you did her halo,
like,
the holly.
The holly, just some of
her scroll and her bow.
Some of the accents.
Very sweet.
But I just love that I could stack that on top of their like paper towel. That's what you get when you get 2 of them.
Now, this was used with the design tool as we back up.
Right. This was design toolkit number 3, and a couple of ways it was used. On the front, it was used to cut this large piece, the side there, and then on the opposite side. But then it's also kind of surprising in that it gets cut apart in the center.
Right, so this is a gatefold card, and this has been glued to the left side. And inside we have another angel that also has been layered.
Right, so layered and the 3D crystal lacquer, and it just makes a nice little pop. They were matted a little bit on the, and these are the darkroom papers, so I just kind of love that brown with the gold. And this is the gold metallic paper that you're seeing with some of the gold dazzles.
Which I think is a wonderful thing to make note of. So the gold paper, so it looks like this. It's a 12 by 12 sheet.
Right.
Comes in gold, also comes in silver. But also to put the gold dazzles on top of it. So you get this elegant tone-on-tone effect.
Tone on tone. And that was with the elegant label part of the design toolkit here.
So the same design toolkit?
Right. This also has this small tag. Somewhere on here is a tiny little tag. Well,
somewhere. Okay.
Yeah. I can't find it at the moment.
As you can see, that card was just the folded flat or laid flat, and then the ends brought to the center, but just absolutely gorgeous. And that's the little tag you were talking about that's on it.
Cut out with the same.
And then you did the bow like this. Now, if you don't want to retie the bow every time, Gail, you could just zot the bow on the left-hand side.
Right.
But it's just absolutely stunning. Now, that layered look, we have another example, or a couple of examples.
And it's with this sheet. This one is called Snow Fun. So you get 3 different designs on this one, 2 of each, and you get building the snowman and singing. It looks like singing and sledding along, mailing something. And this is the artwork of Elizabeth Bell.
And here it is with, and isn't that just a fun look? So it too, 2 of the pieces have been used on one.
Stacked paper toll style.
There's the jewel flowers from Petaloo, and nice way to do the ribbon going on the side.
I love the 2 pieces behind the card topper that have been cut separately. So what I like about this is, yes, these were cut apart and stacked, but you don't have to. In this example, you could just place a card topper on there.
You could.
Have a really simple card.
And then using another one on the inside, and again, those are those tiny Christmas word dazzles, but very fun. I like those resting on the top of the...
Part on, part off. I like the assembly of papers there, just sort of flowing down to the
back up a little
corner.
bit and see that. So really sweet. And one more example, the same thing, the same image, but this time it's been paired not only with a frame cutting die, but also with the Dee's distinctive cutting dies with her trees.
Right, and these have been embossed and glittered.
Right.
That's just another way for using those card toppers.
So even though what these have is the artwork done for you, it by no means hurts your creativity, because you can do so many things with them, as you've seen.
Right, you can do lots of different things with all of these. There are 7 different sheets of these cutting dies.
And there is a Halloween one too. And yes, we will have some non-Christmas in 2015, so stay tuned.
Have fun.